Those two were at Fort Sill and Fort Reno, connecting the 64 million in 1982. But they are the people who have built this nation, this state, and had had none for 18 months prior to that. 6 million, which was 29.
It costs us almost $25 a month to provide basic residential telephone service. Right now, a residential customer pays anywhere from a low of $7.12 a month to a high of $11.22 a month here in Oklahoma City. We're trying to bring the cost of providing phone service closer to what the consumer pays.
Ignoring emotional trauma suffered by the less fortunate, for the fourth and last statement on the condemnation.
Telephone. They are the people who have built this nation, this state, and our city.
No, he's in heavy concentration.
You can get it before it's really gone clear through the mucosa or spread around the body. If you can get it where it's localized just to the colon, then you've got a fairly high cure rate. But if it's outside of the colon or spread to the liver or somewhere else, then obviously your cure rate goes way down.
The performance this afternoon by the Pride of Oklahoma Band marks the first time this year the University Band has played out of the stadium. It played to a first-time crowd, too. This is Lifefest, the Oklahoma Health Center's tooting its own horn, festival style, and an attempt to win some recognition from the public for health agencies that often go unnoticed.
The purpose is just to acquaint people with the health center. We have a great feeling that a lot of people don't know what's available to them at the Oklahoma Health Center, and we wanted a way to get people down here to see what was going on and see all the good stuff that's available for them as far as their health care, and have a little fun along the way.
Meaning that you have a lot of stress in your life right now and may really want to look at some of the changes that you can make.
The itinerary included a mall full of health screening clinics, everything from cholesterol counts to stress tests and body fat percentage measurements. There's no such thing as a festival without entertainment. Today, it came from one of Oklahoma's own.
So here he is, the man that told the rest of the country what we already knew, that Oklahoma is the cultural center of the universe. Hoyt Axton.
The Oklahoma Health Center hopes to make Lifefest an annual event. Terry Cook, News 4.
On Sunday, August the 4th, around 1:30 in the morning, a person or persons unknown entered an industrial construction site near Southwest 36th and Harmon. Suspects broke into a trailer situated on the property, doused the interior with gasoline, and set it on fire. Additional property was also vandalized for a total of over $26,000. If you have any information about this arson or any other serious crime, please contact Crimestoppers, 235-7300. All callers will remain anonymous, and you can earn up to a $1,000 reward. For Crimestoppers, thank you very much. I'm Detective Sugar Smith.
Felicia Ferguson is in training this summer, running a race that will take her to Atlantic City and the Miss America pageant. It's competition she knows a lot about. Felicia entered the Miss Oklahoma pageant 4 times before winning last June. This time is for real, and there's no doubt that Felicia Ferguson is serious about winning.
You give your hand to me, then you say hello. And I can hardly
I've been singing every day for at least 2 hours, concentrating real hard on voice lessons.
And anyone can tell.
I've interviewed people all over the state to find out about Oklahoma. So when I go to Atlantic City, if they ask me anything about this state, hopefully I'll know the answer. And gosh, really just working real hard to get ready for Miss America.
But why Miss America? With a professional singing career in progress, a job in television, why pageants?
It was really a big dilemma for me. But I kept thinking in the back of my mind, in 30 years, if I'm watching the Miss America pageant with my kids, I don't know if I could even enjoy it because I hadn't had the opportunity to be there myself. And I thought it would be really hard to sit in front of the TV set every year and watch Miss America and always wonder if I could have done well.
This I borrowed from a Miss Texas like 10 years ago. So
Scrapbooks are full of past achievements for Felicia, from Putnam City Schools, Oklahoma State University, pageants. She's an Oklahoma girl of intense discipline, talent, and focus.
Even if I don't make the top 10, even if I do, if I'm number 11 or first runner-up or the winner, at least I'll feel satisfied and know that I went up there doing everything I possibly could have done to be ready. Most of all, I want to walk away with the feeling that I did my best.
In this trial, it takes only 6 jurors to get a verdict of guilt or innocence. But lately, court officials have had trouble convening even a small jury like this one. Judicial statistics show 30% of citizens summoned for jury duty fail to even appear for selection. Judges say whole trials have been put in jeopardy because of delinquent jurors.
We are, I would say, in jeopardy of having sufficient number of people to sit as jurors. In fact, not until we are ready to convene and try these people do we really know how many are going to show up.
So many people have refused to show up in the jury box that now many face contempt of court charges. The system will start going after those that, with their absence, disrupt the judicial process. Officials say if citizens insist on shirking their duty, they may get a first-hand look at what they're avoiding.
Have them brought before the court, and at that time they can be accorded the right to also have a jury trial, if you will, and post bond.
If enough people show up.
If enough people show up, then we can try them. A good point.
The judge also speculates that most people just won't make the time in their busy schedules for jury duty. But he adds if they won't find that time, they might have to make time for a jail sentence. Bob Donaldson, News 4, Municipal Court.
Building with a little burgundy on it. I think they got some.
It is indeed a great day in downtown Oklahoma City. One of the signs of a great city is its cultural events. The Festival, of course, is a very important part of our year-long Festival of the Arts in Oklahoma City.
Who is your firm? He said, Customer Plus. And I said, well, who is your sponsor? Well, he said, we are sponsored by the Merchants of Oklahoma City, and we are approved by the Better Business Bureau and also Channel 4. And I said, may I call Channel 4 and verify this? He said, yes, you may.
These people are potential bookkeepers, busboys, and catering experts. And although their career plans may differ, they have a common goal. Each one of these applicants would like to work for the new Marriott Hotel in northwest Oklahoma City. The line formed outside the hotel just after 7:30 this morning. The Marriott has just over 300 jobs open. Only 1 in 8 in this line will be hired. But those discouraging odds haven't scared away too many applicants.
I'm in a specialized field myself, so I hope that I'll have a little bit better chance than most of the people out here. There seems to be a lot of them out here today.
You got to come. They won't come and get you.
So you think your chances are good?
I think so. I think this is my lucky day.
Any other experience you've had besides this listed on here?
Once inside, the potential employees are interviewed by volunteers with the Oklahoma Employment Security Commission. More than 550 applicants were processed by noon today. The pay here will range from just under minimum wage plus tips to $6 an hour. The Marriott has already got enough applications to fill all of their positions, but the hotel will interview all week.
We expect at least 500 per day with a total of 2,500 this week then with the 5 days of interviewing. And approximately of that we would expect at least 1 in 8 to be hired on.
In Marriott Hotels, we offer products like attractive guest rooms.
The applicants that showed promise were seated in front of a TV to listen to the corporate history of the Marriott firm. But these applicants are strictly that. No one has been hired. and hotel executives will review all of the applications throughout the week before any hiring decisions are made. In northwest Oklahoma City, Kurt Autry, News 4.
It says essentially that the workplace was of such a nature that it really created a serious hazard to the safety of the employees that were there.
Look at your girl. What do you do like that somebody sits on the porch? Sure. Watch out, lady. You bet you won't file a trespass. Over to a rank after sitting for 2 days.
They're our biggest competitor. They're making the real deals, selling the homes and doing away with the homes on the market.
Mr. Stem went out of his seat and hit the door. Then that's when the bus started tipping over, and my friend went out the window. And then all we saw was this gas coming out of the car, so everybody got out. And hopefully everybody got out okay.
Just kind of remain sitting there. Okay. I'll get you pushed up here. This way. There we go. Don't squeeze anything yet.
Of China alone, over $250 million worth of business in our state. Not all as a direct result of my trip, but certainly a part of the opening of the exchange. We've had many Chinese and Japanese. If I spend of the taxpayers' money on a trip to the Orient, and say we spent $70,000, $80,000 on this trip, whatever that might be, and a year from now, I can have the same press conference and say we've brought in additional $250 million worth of business to Oklahoma, then that is money well spent. And I think that
Ambassador Hoyt Axton. They could bring forth the formula for peace in this world. And all I remember is the white baby and the black baby. Your challenge is not getting the right to vote. Your challenge is not desegregation. Your challenge is not getting an adequate school facility. Your challenge is effort to the third power.
I think that is fate, yes. Just coincidental. There's plane crashes, and statistically, now I don't know the numbers, but aircraft, flying by aircraft is supposedly still the safest means of transportation. There's a lot of things that go on. It's just like car accidents or train accidents, you see them come in spurts.
This is one of the last avenues of appeal for Stafford, who awaits the death penalty not only in the Lorenz case, but also for 6 murders at Oklahoma City's Sirloin Stockade. Stafford was taken to the federal courthouse for the hearing, but was never called to testify. Throughout the 2-day hearing, defense attorney Charles Grethen tried to show that Stafford did not receive a fair trial. He called an Oklahoma City author, Sharon Carter, who said she had made a deal with Stafford's trial attorney, J. Malone Brewer, to write a book about the case, a deal she said Brewer was very interested in. But under cross-examination by Assistant Attorney General David Lee, she said Brewer lost interest in the deal after losing the case. Later, the state called Kay Huff, the woman who prosecuted Stafford in the Lorenz case. She testified she believed Stafford was well represented at the trial, but did admit her 3 most important witnesses had all undergone hypnosis, a fact she told reporters later concerned her now.
Oh, sure, it worries me. You know, you always worry when a case is on appeal, because I think it's very hard for trial, for federal judges who haven't been there and seen the evidence and, you know, maybe aren't totally familiar with all the evidence to sort of second guess what went on at trial.
But Lee said he thinks the state has proven Stafford got a fair trial.
And we think that we showed that he was competently represented and that there were no problems with his trial. I mean, it's real serious. If we win here, then it goes to the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals in Denver, and that's pretty much his last shot unless he can get the U.S. Supreme Court to intervene.
The look on the faces of the Mexican rescue workers was a telltale combination of pain and anguish. They'd been there before over the past week since the killer quakes had hit, and more often than not, their efforts had turned up death instead of life. One of the oddities of this tragedy was that often the very old still stood. It was the comparatively new that didn't. Responding to one such location this day, the Sooner medical team finally found a purpose.
There's an airway.
The setting was a textile warehouse in the garment district. The medical team was setting up a makeshift emergency room. In the rubble of an upstairs apartment, a survivor had been found.
For the first time since I've been here, I'm getting pumped up. And with just a little bit of luck, we're going to be able to pull a couple of people out.
Once we've got her out, while the doctor's working on her, you can figure your access.
While Goddard and his trauma team remained below, the other Oklahoma doctors and the remainder of the rescue squad went to remove the survivor. It was utter destruction upstairs. Almost unbelievable anyone could have lived, but at least one did. Mexican doctors were already on the scene, but not experienced in such an emergency, and they welcomed the American response to help. A score of rescuers stood by in silence, fearing a sound could turn hope into sorrow. She was still alive, 7 days without food or water, and exposed to the temperature extremes of early fall in a city at an altitude of 7,300 feet. But she was badly injured. A foot had been pinned. Would she lose it? She was dehydrated, but the IVs were hard to start. She was oblivious to it all. A large crowd had gathered. The word had spread quickly.
Yeah, there's blood pressure.
When it was over, it hit all of them, why they had come.
Señores, que Dios se los pague. Es mi hija la que sacaron. No comprendo. God bless you. Es your son. Que Dios se los pague.
That's the greatest thing I've seen in a long time. Thank you.
George Tomic, News 4, in Mexico City.
There's so much good that, that really came out of the accident. It's kind of hard to see that sometimes, but so thankful to be alive. I know that, there was 130 other individuals that loved to trade places with me. It made it all the much easier to, to go ahead and recover.
This is another one of those cases, too, where they didn't start really working with this building until today.
It had been a frustrating week for the Angels of Mercy from Oklahoma. There were hundreds, perhaps 1,000 or more earthquake victims still buried alive under tons of what used to be homes, apartments, offices, and everything else that makes up a major urban metropolis of 18 million people. And so far, they had just been observers.
The search dogs that are supposed to be finding the live bodies, the stench from the decaying from the bodies that are there make it impossible for the dogs to smell anything. They're unable to locate any of the live ones or be able to tell if they're alive or dead. So what they're doing is they're going to take off one shore at a time and check it out essentially themselves.
It's been a lot of hurry up and wait, and a lot of disappointment as far as wanting to get my hands in and really help people and do things. And probably mostly disappointment, a lot of excitement involved in it as far as seeing what's really happening and just all the activity.
And so it was off to another target of opportunity. The Oklahomans had been teamed up with a California rescue squad. Why are they doing this? Well, in the long term, it's a learning experience to be used to save lives back in Oklahoma. In the short term, hopefully, the same thing.
There's an airway.
Until now, the international rescue teams have had to work through the bureaucracy of the Mexican government. But suddenly, on this day, that all changed. The American team, including the Oklahomans, is now in charge of the rescue effort. They're concentrating it here at this 3-story textile warehouse near downtown Mexico City. They know at least one woman is alive inside. There may be other survivors. She's alive, said a young Mexican rescue worker. A cleanup crew had heard a human voice, and the response of the Oklahoma team was immediate. They sped upstairs as the race against time took a new dimension. Frustration was over. Suddenly, it was all worthwhile. The rescue attempt had begun. George Tomic, News 4, in Mexico City. Oh, you're next. No? Don't you want to get in film? No? That's very nice of you.
Penn Square was a basket case that one way or the other would have been closed sooner or later. And there's just no question that it was an accident ready to happen. No doubt in my mind that it should have been closed.
You know, there's been a lot of people working these things for a lot of years, and the Project Connie and the Project Warrior programs are trying to give our people a sense of the place in history and of the United States and in the history of the military, so that it is not a one-time thing. A lot of people have paid a lot of sacrifices in the past to keep the nation a free nation, and this is one of those links that we'd like to preserve.